Greetings, viewers. My name is Trevor from SMG Studios. I'm the host today. Today we have a writer who is with us. Say, how are you?
I'm good, Trevor. How are you?
Good. Can you introduce yourself to the viewers and let them know who you are?
Hi, guys. My name is Coach Aldreen. I'm a personal and corporate identity coach. I'm a professional certified coach, and I'm an author, four times published author. And I'm the executive director of the International Identity Network, an organization that is created to empower growth through self-discovery. I'm also a quantity surveyor by profession.
Okay.
And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Quantity surveyor, which means you're an engineer, sort of.
I am dribiri.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like you have a lot of professions. What makes you have those professions? Who inspire you? I can do this and this and this and this.
Well, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an engineer.
Okay.
And then, life doesn't go all your way every time.
Yeah.
So I ended up being a quantity surveyor, which is something that I really love doing, but passionately. So I call myself a quantity surveyor by profession and a coach by calling.
So how do you manage all these professions? Like, say I'm a carpenter, and how do you manage all those things?
Now I'm okay. Look, maybe that's why we need to delve deep into the topic that we're just going to talk about. Like the issue about the things that you do.
Yeah,
it's all coming out from who you are.
Yes.
Personally, I'm so much inspired to helping people.
Okay.
And because of that, I can branch myself into a lot of things, but still it comes back to who I am. Personally, I call myself a coach.
Okay.
But I am a person who is willing and inspired to help people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I read your book, part of it, and then I just drafted some questions to ask you. What inspired you to write Defining Oneself book?
Okay. Let me just maybe give you a brief story about how I started loving writing books.
Yeah.
So I was Form 5 and I got to be so much inspired to writing poems.
Okay.
And in writing poems, I used to do public speaking in high school.
Okay.
Those things you go on assembly and you're giving motivational speech.
Yeah.
I had a book that had like a whole lot of quotes. So I would intertwine all the quotes to make a speech, and then I stand in front of people and I give that speech.
Okay.
Then after some time, I realized that I could create some things of my own. And I joined a site that is called Hello Poetry, where I was just, writing things and putting online. Didn't care even who is going to read the books or who is going to read the poems.
Okay.
And then when I was in college on my first year, then that's when I started working on Underestimated Way to Success.
Okay.
When I started working on Underestimated Way, it was like I'm giving an example of a person who have had information. You read Dr. Miles Monroe, you read Eric Thomas, and you listen to Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Yeah.
Now, with all that information that you have, you are inspired to create something that is in simplified form to give to the people. That's Underestimated Way to Success. I was like, even if you're looked down upon, you can still rise to become the better person. But that was just a motivation I had. I didn't know that I didn't have a niche.
Okay.
For every speaker, you need to have a niche. And the niche that I got from myself is identity.
Okay.
I realized that there's a lot of identity chaos. And because of the identity chaos that kids, people we grow up with, we end up failing to discover who we really are.
Okay.
You understand? And that's what inspired me writing Defining Oneself.
Okay. Yeah. Before I go to the next question, I pick up some of the things which I failed in high school, like public speaking. I didn't have that confidence to be in front of people. Okay. I never speak in front of people, of crowds. And I think me and all my friends I had by that time. We couldn't speak in front of people. But if we, on our crew, So how do you build the confidence to be able to speak in front of people?
Okay, you just reminded me something. There's a video that I dropped down from my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It was my second year, so I created a club that was called Spirit of Inspiration for Global Turn Up.
Okay.
And this organization was meant to help people motivate others. You have something that you're really good at.
Yes.
Tell people you can do it.
Oh.
So we used to move around high schools doing motivational campaigns. So one of the times we went to Queen Elizabeth, and I had a friend of mine who came with a camera and he was taking a video. My guy, if I was gonna let you see that video, you'd have laughed at me. There was a lot of broken English in that video. So one thing about confidence, it's not about how good you are.
Okay.
It's about how you just want to give out what you have.
Just do something.
Yeah, what you have. It's about what you have, right?
Yeah.
The delivery now is the confidence you have. You don't care. You know, one of the times I wrote a poem, which was saying that my words are coming up as what? In broken lines.
Okay.
It's in crooked. It's written with a crooked pen and broken grammar.
Yeah.
I wrote it in the book that I wrote in Shadows of Dancing the Shadows. So the broken grammar, it's about the delivery. It doesn't matter how
it's
coming out, but the confidence that you create in yourself, saying, I want to give this to people.
Okay.
It's what matters.
Yeah, I see that one. I heard one guy was saying, if you want to start a business or start something, just start.
Yeah, they just
start. You don't have to be perfect. Then you get started.
You know, Tichikura Baba Tanzini was like, Kuripka Kugara.
Yeah.
And he made a following out of it.
Yeah. And
how crazy it was. But he was just confident with himself, you understand?
Okay.
And that's what matters.
Okay. All right. In the book, you discuss about becoming. How can one become?
Wow. In Defining Oneself, there is a chapter that is called Becoming as a Process.
Okay.
Now, when we're talking about becoming, we're talking about you as an individual realizing who you are. That's becoming. Becoming Trevor.
Okay.
Becoming whoever you are. Now, a personality, or maybe let me just say a man is created. We are all created by God. When we're created by God, God gave us a personality. He gave us a name. And after giving you a name, you have to become that name.
Okay.
So maybe just a quick one. Let me just break down what identity is. When we talk about identity, we're talking about you making yourself known to people.
Okay.
So there are three things that makes up a person's identity.
Okay.
Number one, it's who you are. Who is Trevor? So who is Trevor is a corporal identity, an identity that is unalterable.
Okay.
An identity that makes you you.
Okay.
Something that if I come to you, I cannot change. Just like your fingerprints. I can't.
That's who you
That's
are.
your corporate identity. I can't have your fingerprints. So who you are is your fingerprint of who you are. Now, there is who they say you are. Now, who they say you are, what I look at you and say, Trevor, DJ Trevor, you understand? I'm creating a name for you.
Okay.
According to how I see you.
Okay.
You know, when we're growing up, we're given nicknames.
Yeah.
In that one's Big Engine.
All right.
because of my big head, you understand?
Okay.
So they saw me, they saw my head, and they gave me an identity.
A name. Okay.
Yeah. So
All right.
you understand? They saw me, and they gave me an identity.
So who they see,
who they say I am.
All right. Okay.
That's another way that people can define you, and that's also self-discovery.
Yeah.
And the last thing is now the most important thing: what you believe.
Okay.
So there are two things: what they say you are, what you are, and then what you believe. Now, what you believe determines how then you define yourself.
Okay, so at the end of the day, I'm supposed to be the one who determines who am I.
Who you are.
Okay.
So in this book, I'm not going to tell you that Trevor is a person who is like this. I'm giving you a guideline so that you can be able to define yourself.
Wise enough.
Yeah.
Okay. What practical experience I mentioned in the book that someone can relate to?
Okay, now, when I wrote this book, it was last year. So the first introduction of Defining Oneself came from my mother.
Okay.
And unfortunately, she passed.
Oh, sorry.
But I can tell you this: the journey that she walked through, it was a journey of self-discovery.
Okay.
And when she did, she created a platform for us, me and my brothers and my sister.
Yes.
So that we can be able to know who we are. I remember when I was Form 2, my brother ran away from school.
Okay.
And my mom had to convince him to come back to school so that he at least have a certain profession.
Okay.
My brother wanted to be a truck driver. And my mom was like, okay, you can be a truck driver, but before you become a truck driver, can you have a profession first? and you can become anything you want to be.
Okay.
So that platform that gives us, like right now I'm a quantity surveyor. If you ask me how many gigs I had for coaching, you might realize that they are less than the money that I get as a quantity surveyor. So what I did, I created a career to support what I'm passionate about.
Okay.
Now, the practical examples that you find in the book are the examples that gives you can relate. Okay, I can talk about a title that like it's in chapter 7. Talks about the guy whose name was John.
Okay.
And John was going to Christ Embassy, and he understood God in his own way, and how he met a philosopher on the road when he was going home, and he asked him questions like, "Who is God? Who created God?"
Okay.
And then the guy was just young and he was confused. He didn't know who created God. You understand? So it gives you a platform to ask yourself very important questions that you're scared of asking. And then how you answer them now comes from you.
Okay.
It's like the same way people define success. Okay. What is success, Trevor?
Yo, success, I think it's in different measures.
Exactly.
Okay. Some people believe success is getting money. Sometimes it's not about money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But success, I think, is having what makes you happy.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can succeed in your family, being able to raise your family that can make you happy.
Exactly. Yeah. But do you know that the practical definition of success is very simple? The practical definition of success is a fraction. When I talk about a fraction in general mathematics, it's 2/5, right?
Yeah.
So 2 becomes the numerator and 5 being the denominator.
Okay.
So 2 is the reality.
Okay.
And 5 is the expectations. So success is a fraction of reality and expectations.
Yeah.
Right now, Trevor, you want to make $1 billion company. And what you have is a 200 rand company. So for you, success is 200 over 2 billion.
Okay.
So what do? We are giving a way for people to define themselves according to them. Now, because you're having 3 billion, right? And I have 200. If I come to you, I will call you successful. But what if your 2 billion is up to 3 trillion?
Okay.
But my 200 is up to 1,000, which means, in other words, I'm closer to success than you.
Okay.
You understand? So that's very practical. You can relate. Personally, when I write, I want people to come back and sit down and say, and actually apply in their life whatever they have learned.
Okay.
That's how practical this book is.
Okay. So I know myself, I do a lot of things, right? So when I'm doing, let's for example, music, when I'm making an instrument, I feel like this is the last, I just made a hit, right? So for you, after writing this book, what other topics do you think are you thinking to discuss about in future?
Okay, thanks for the beautiful question. Like, me and my colleagues, we have created an organization. It's called the International Identity Network.
Okay.
And it's a network of people who know who they are. So I'm having a big vision of creating what is called a defined generation.
Okay.
A generation of people who knows who they are. So what I'm trying to do is empower people, empower growth through self-discovery. Now, I'm working on a book. It's called Unbound, Stretching Beyond the Limits.
Okay.
So Unbound is like, when you know who you are, it doesn't end there. Defining oneself is not a one-day thing. You don't wake up tomorrow and say, I'm Trevor, and then that's all.
Yeah.
It's a process of becoming as a process. Remember, you're talking about becoming as a process. It's a process of becoming. Each and every day you're waking up, you're discovering new things about yourself. I even mentioned in the book that, do you know, Trevor, that moment that you're exposed in an environment that triggers hashadzabo.
Yeah.
But until then, you're in a very peaceful environment. Maybe you don't know that.
Yeah, sure.
But life is not going to put you in a box of one experience.
Like that, yeah, always.
It's always going to expose you to different situations and different environments. Sure. And when you are exposed to a different environment, you discover a new part of yourself.
Yeah, this is me.
Exactly. So now, since self-discovery is a process, in that process, there are limitations that hold you back to finding the true person. The Bible says in the book of Jeremiah chapter 29 that I have plans for you. plans that should be greater. Now, the plan of God and your plans, they sometimes doesn't link because God sees you bigger than you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
Now, that huge person, that greater person that was created for you by God, for you to get there, you need to become him. So for you to become him, you have to remove all the limitations around you.
Okay.
So my niche is that I help people define themselves. Then after they do, they make use of their abilities to become the greater people that God has created them to become.
Yeah.
So I'm working on a book. I hope to publish it this year with the grace of God. It's called Unbound, Stretching Your Boundaries Beyond Limits.
Okay. But I believe you are done with this book, right?
Yeah.
So when are you publishing this one?
This one is I already self-published it. I haven't just started doing all the sales, but I have some copies that I have left in Harare.
Okay.
And I have copies around in Joburg. But the main thing, we're having a training, Mastering Self-Discovery course on the 3rd and 4th of May. You can register it online. It's going to be online.
Okay.
So you get a certificate after the course. Last month we did a trainer certification. I think I have around 4 or 5 trainers that have joined the trainer certification who are ready to help you.
Yeah.
So the International Identity Network have created a handbook based on defining oneself.
Okay.
And it's made out of 4 tools. I can mention them. There is an identity ship. There is the pyramid of life.
Okay.
There is the early process. And also there is the well-packaged trash. And these are tools that are designed, practical tools that are designed from the book to help you understand yourself better.
Okay.
So especially, for example, we can talk about the early process. You can go and look at yourself that I'm a poverty cause, or I'm a game changer, or I'm an angry achiever.
Yeah.
And with that, it helps you how do you relate with others in the community. And it also helps you understand your strengths towards whatever you want to achieve. For example, let me just give you a practical example of a game changer and what I call a tenacious player. A game changer is a person who uses anger. The person who be like, I don't want to be poor. That person uses anger and whatever he is to achieve things. Yeah. Then there's a tenacious player, a person who is very, very soft and patient. They take everything step by step until they achieve. Those two different people, they have different ways of believing.
Things,
Now, if you are going to try, I meet you as an angry achiever, and they're like, man, there's no process, I just want to make it. I gotta make it or make it. You understand? Then I'm like, no, man, you need to understand the process. These people are all going to achieve, but they just don't understand each other. They are 2 different people with the same goal, but going to use different applications. So this book is done, but my focus is that we train people on becoming. And that's the 3rd and the 4th of May. We are trying to launch our first ever Mastering Self-Discovery course. I have 5 people who have already registered now. And it's going to be online. And then after that course, we are going to have an exam about yourself. Remember, the exam is not about me. We're just going to ask you if you really know yourself better. I have a person who registered for that course and he said that I don't even have an idea of who I am. And people like that, they need to get through that process. We help them to discover who they really are. And, we talked about a lot of things right now. It's much of a lot of information, but the course is tailored step by step. We first understand you as a person, then we give you the tools that are good for you.
All right. This was a nice conversation with Coach Aldreen. So when are we going to see each other, Coach Aldreen?
Okay. What I'm planning to do is to have weekly broadcasts. So that each and every week we help each other.
Yes.
Until we get there. Like, remember, self-discovery is not a one-day thing.
It's a process.
You don't listen to this interview and then you start to know yourself. Or you don't buy Defining Oneself. And after reading Defining Oneself, tomorrow you are confused. And they're like, motivational speakers are liars. It's a process, And through that process, we need to be helping to guide each other. And I hope by next week, we will actually have another podcast. And we can talk about self-discovery more.
So this one is like an introduction.
Yes.
We are going to be with him forever.
Yes,
All right. Thank you, viewers, for viewing this episode. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.